So recently, Naughty Dog released a trailer for a Last of Us remake, and the reception has been a little negative. Now, I'm not here to blindly hate on this. I really love the original game, and honestly, I feel kind of bad for the people working on it. As a game developer myself who struggles to make shitty looking indie games, I know how incredibly difficult it must be to create a game like The Last of Us. And for some guy on Twitter to tweet out L plus ratio plus I could have done better, that must be pretty annoying. But a lot of the backlash is still pretty warranted. I think the initial reasons for this reaction are that it was a little unnecessary and had a pretty hefty price tag at $70. Or if you're British like me, probably about 100 quid as our economy is fucking destroyed. I personally wouldn't buy a $70 game on a whim, and I'm sure neither would most people, so I think this is the main problem people have with the game. Now, I'm not gonna lie, the remake definitely has much better graphics. I mean, you'd fucking hope so, as the game came out almost a decade ago. But this is where the line between remakes and remasters becomes blurred. A remake is usually where the game is rebuilt from the ground up with new and improved mechanics, and a remaster being that the content of the game remains the same and the visuals are upgraded. So since the gameplay bears really no difference to the original game, it's still in my opinion just a glorified remaster. And The Last of Us already had one of them, so I can see how people would be hesitant to buy it again. And despite having a PC release soon after the initial console release, which I'll admit is convenient for someone like me who doesn't have a PlayStation, it will be a PS5 exclusive, which is a slight problem given that nobody fucking has one. So if you want to play it on launch and you don't already have a PS5, that's going to set you back about the GDP of a few small countries. Another thing that a lot of people online have neglected to mention is the new art direction. This game is obviously using the Last of Us Part 2 engine, and I think that really shows when we look at its aesthetics. Part 2 is a much darker game visually than the original, and if we look at some of these comparisons, the new version is much darker. So yes, the graphics and textures of course do look better, but you change the art direction of the game, so of course it looks different. The PS3 was capable of dark games, you just didn't decide to make it that way when creating the original game. This might just be me, but I think this also shows when looking at the character models. Like, if you look at this comparison of Ellie, like, that's just straight up a different person. She's at least a good 5 years older than she appears in the original, and again, she looks more similar to the Last of Us Part 2 model. And this one of Joel looks worse than the original in my opinion. However, there were a few things in the announcement that were good features to have. They improved the AI, which is always a good move in a stealth-based game. Honestly, as long as the stealth is better than Far Cry 3, it's fine with me.
Get that motherfucker down!
They also added more accessibility features, which is probably very good for some people. I mean, sure, if you're blind, you probably can't play The Last of Us on PS3. Oh wait, you're disabled? Only $70 to play the game. Buy now. It's pretty funny, but throughout the whole trailer, they also focus on really minute stuff. Almost as if they're really trying to sell you something.
One of the things that the PlayStation 5 is really enabling is that we're able to have a density of physics objects in a scene that we could never do before. Like bumpables, chippables, breakables, destructible objects in a scene. Just makes the world feel rich, makes it feel lived in.
Not only are they beautiful, but you feel the environments. You feel the environments in a much more visceral way.
For example, we now have a permadeath mode. Beyond that, we added a bunch more of unlockables.
Only $70 to get unlockable clothing items.
Unlockables?
I'm pre-ordering right now, man. One of the guys was really shilling the new DualSense vibration, saying that you're going to be able to feel resistance when you pull back the bow. It reminds me when I was a young'un googling Nintendo NX leaks, and they kept talking about haptic feedback, which still have no fucking idea what it is. Was non-haptic feedback. And they said that you'd be able to feel water filling up a glass through the controller or some shit, and then I actually got a Switch and completely forgot about it. Overall, I just think that it's not really that necessary to have another re-release of The Last of Us, and the $70 price tag is pretty absurd. It'd be nice for me to play it again on PC with updated graphics, but again, $70. I'm probably not gonna buy it. Motherfucker, I'm hesitant to buy games for 2 quid on Steam. Also, I'm not just some cynic who just hates remakes. There are plenty of remakes that I would love to play. Like the Resident Evil 4 remake that's coming out. I'm pretty hyped to play that because 1, the original controls like absolute shit, and 2, The graphics are really quite dated at this point, as it hasn't been re-released in 17 years. Or how about Silent Hill remakes that aren't fucking terrible? That's about it for this video. If you enjoyed, remember to like and subscribe, and I'll maybe consider making a video in the next century. So, yeah, bye.